everyone, Jimmy Sandmore here, and this week I'm talking about Jurassic World. Now, if I'm being honest, I wasn't super excited for a fourth Jurassic Park movie. And when they changed the title to Jurassic World, it kind of piqued my interest. Not 100%. I wasn't like, oh, I gotta go see this movie. It was released in 2015, and of course, the fourth movie in the Jurassic Park franchise, or the first movie in the Jurassic World trilogy, I guess. It gave us very much the same type of movie, but it also gave us some new and exciting things as well. In the course of this show, you're going to hear me talk about chaos a lot. And I 100% believe that Dr. Ian Malcolm was right all the way back in Jurassic Park with his chaos theory. It is very true. And it's very evident in all of these movies. I don't know if that was done deliberately by the filmmakers and the screenwriters, but you can see that the chaos theory is very much alive and well, more so in this movie than I think in past installments. The basis of all these movies is people playing with power that they don't fully understand, things going haywire, and chaos ensues, right? I mean, that's pretty much Jurassic Park, Jurassic Park The Lost World, Jurassic Park 3, and, of course, Jurassic World. The execution of that chaos is what drew me into this movie, and I actually did go see it in the theater, which is something I don't usually do. I'm more of a home movie kind of guy, but I do watch movies that I enjoy in theaters. I couldn't wait to go see this after I saw trailers and started watching and paying more attention to it. And I admit that that was a mistake not really being into it from the beginning, but I was totally in when I saw the first trailer. Let's talk a little bit about Masrani, who is the new John Hammond of this equation, who doesn't care about money. I mean, while he did take more stock in security measures than, say, John Hammond did, Masrani still doesn't understand the dangers that are around every corner in Jurassic World. He doesn't understand them to the point where he doesn't see it even when he's in the park until it's much too late. Now let's take a second and talk about all the callbacks that were in this movie, which I thought were a brilliant thing for them to do. Let's start it off with Lowry's Jurassic Park shirt that he wears in the command center. I thought this was brilliant. It was funny. It was like, oh, that's a cool shirt. And he talks about the story how he had to buy it on eBay, which I thought was hilarious. During the movie, they returned to the original Jurassic Park Visitor Center with the two boys, Gray and Zach. I absolutely love the scene where Claire ties her shirt just like Dr. Ellie Sattler from the original Jurassic Park movie, and I picked up on that right away. I'm like, oh, that's a cool callback that not many people are going to see. Not upon first viewing, anyways. I mean, diehard fans probably picked it up. I mean, I did. Let's talk about the star dinosaur of this movie and how the return of Dr. Wu, I think is how you say it, that was a brilliant move on their part, and I figured he was involved from the very beginning. He created a new species specifically for Jurassic World. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Verizon Wireless presents the Indominus Rex, which I thought was fucking hilarious when Claire said it. It was a great line. I'd like to know whoever came up with that because it's fucking brilliant. I enjoyed watching the Indominus Rex from the word go. Before they even showed her on the screen, I was like, oh, what is it? What does it look like? How did they make it? And, of course, they tell you all that stuff. And they show you, of course, the incredible creature that she is. I enjoyed the chaos and her destruction throughout the movie. And I loved the special abilities that they gave her through her DNA and how they explained them, which, I mean, they created things it put things in this dinosaur that created a whole new slew of problems for the humans. A little bit about the characters as we're going along here. I enjoyed most of the characters in this movie, with the exception of the Hoskins character, who was played brilliantly by Vincent D'Onofrio, who I'm a huge fan of. And this is not a slight on Mr. D'Onofrio, because he's an amazing actor. I love him in Daredevil, for example. I just thought the character was very unlikable, and I get that that's the point, but I can usually find something I like about a dislikable character. and I really couldn't with the Hoskins character. And I think maybe that was the point. I really thought the boys were well cast, and for the life of me, I cannot remember their names. I did not put them in my notes here, but they were very close in the movie, and I understand, if you don't have the right actors, that's not going to come across, and that's a problem. But these two, I really felt like they were brothers, and they really, throughout their process of the movie, got closer together, even though they weren't close together at the beginning. And I liked both of the characters. I liked Gray more than I liked Zach. I mean, because Zach is a girl-obsessed teenager, been there, done that. I was once a teenage boy, so I get that. And Gray I love so much because he reminds me of my youngest boy, who's now 10, and he loves dinosaurs. So he's my little Gray. That's, every once in a while I call him that. And of course he doesn't get it, but because he's never seen Jurassic World. He has seen Jurassic Park, though, because he loves dinosaurs. The gyrosphere scenes I thought were brilliant with the boys. And I really enjoyed the scene with the Indominus trying to get into the gyrosphere to eat the boys. It was scary, it was intense, it was really well done. I was worried about the glass. Being a parent, that's the first thing my mind thinks about, not the giant dinosaur. Owen Grady, played amazingly by Chris Pratt, was a legit badass compared to the Hoskins character, who was just like an armchair badass. I mean, they both had military experience, but you could tell that Owen Grady could get into the shit and be fine with it and keep his head, whereas I don't think Hoskins really had a fucking clue what was going on. Next up, I want to talk a little bit about Claire Dearing, who was played by the amazingly talented Bryce Dallas Howard. To me, at the very beginning of the movie, when you first meet her, she's fucking annoying, and I'm like, oh, I hope she fucking gets eaten early. Which, I mean, that's horrible to say, but she was annoying, and I wanted to see her get her fucking arm ripped off or something. But throughout the movie, you see her change and evolve into this badass chick who's not going to let anything happen to her nephews. And I enjoyed watching that change. I don't have notes about this character, but I want to talk about Zara, who was an amazingly funny character for as little screen time as she had. She was the boys' guardian through the park, or babysitter, I guess you could call her. And I can't remember the woman's name, but she plays Lena Luthor on Supergirl. And watching her get eaten by the Mosasaurus was fucking awesome during that whole chaos. And I think, isn't it, she's being carried away by one of the pterodons, and the Mosasaurus jumps up and eats her. I think that's pretty much how it went. I don't know, I haven't watched this movie. I watched it probably 3 weeks ago, but I watch a lot of movies. So maybe I'm remembering that wrong. And now let's get into the meat of the story. The meat of the movie, shall we call it. Like I said, watching Zara getting eaten was fucking awesome. I really enjoyed that part of the movie. And I actually go back and watch it sometimes. When I'm watching the movie, I'll actually rewind that scene. Let's talk about my new favorite dino for a minute, the Mosasaurus, which... amazing choice and great to add to the lore of Jurassic Park, Jurassic World. The size of this monster and watching it eat a great white shark was absolutely amazing. And I would love to see more of the Mosasaurus in future installments, which, I mean, of course, we see her, or him or her, in Fallen Kingdom, which I'm sure I'll do somewhere on this list of top 10 favorite sci-fi movies. But that creature was amazing. The scenes with Owen and his raptors were awesome. They were well shot, and the story with them looking to him as their alpha was really interesting to me, and I really got into that part of the story. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. But when the shit hits the fan and they decide that they're going to release the raptors to hunt Indominus Rex, I was like, wow, I mean, if they're off their leash out in the wild, they're going to fucking turn on humans because they're animals, they're creatures, they're hunters, they're killers. So I'm like, this is a bad idea. And I'm looking at it from a strictly, animalistic standpoint. But of course, they do find Indominus, and we find out that Indominus is part raptor, So she becomes the new alpha, and they begin hunting the humans. I thought for sure they were going to kill off Owen. I thought the raptors would kill Owen first because he's their oppressor. You know, I mean, they don't think like that, but that was my thought process. One thing throughout this movie, I kept saying to myself, and I said to my wife in the theater, where's T-Rex during all this shit? Because, you know, T-Rex is in every movie. And as soon as I saw the chaos that Indominus Rex was laying in her wake, I was waiting for T-Rex to show up and, like, either start fucking shit up with her or fighting against her, because I figured that that's where they were going at some point. Because T-Rex is a fucking badass. And it's when they finally do bring T-Rex, it's the original T-Rex from Jurassic Park, which I thought was a very interesting kind of did you know thing. And you know, and of course we know T-Rex comes in towards the end of the film, and wow, fuck me wow, was it worth the wait. I like that Owen reconnects with Blue and convinces her and the other raptors to help them fight Indominus so they can survive. And it was a touching moment when he reaches out and takes off Blue's camera, as if to say, you're free, you can do whatever you want, type of thing. I thought that was really a touching moment and really fitting and not really off-putting. I thought maybe it would, like, kill the action, but it really doesn't. It really lends itself to the action, because then she talks to the other raptors like, okay, this is our guy, we need to help him. And then, of course, they attack Indominus, and T-Rex is fighting it with them, and I thought that scene was very brilliant, very powerful, very well shot. Everything about it was great. And the battle itself ends very unexpectedly when Mosasaurus leaps out of the water and takes the Indominus Rex by the throat and drags her to her death into the lagoon. Which I was like, fuck, wow, that was awesome. And even when I was watching this movie a couple weeks ago to get ready to do this video, it was probably last week actually, that moment still got me. I'm like, oh, that's right, that's how this happens. And I thought it was completely amazing. Alright, folks, it's that time of the show where I talk about 5 things I loved about this movie and 5 things I disliked about this movie. I don't say the word hate because hate is a very strong word. But 5 things I liked about this movie. I loved about this movie. Owen Grady being a total badass. And that's something that this series has been missing for quite some time. I mean, we had Dr. Alan Grant in the original movie, but he really wasn't a badass. He was more of a science-y kind of guy. We really haven't had that badass character. I mean, yeah, we had the big game hunter in The Lost World, but it wasn't that big of a deal. Mosasaurus. Like I said, I loved the addition of the monster of the sea in this movie because it was our first really big aquatic dinosaur. I mean, yeah, Spinosaurus does swim briefly in Jurassic Park 3, but Mosasaurus was really like the big reveal of monsters of the sea in this franchise. I loved Indominus Rex. This creature, I mean, free for the first time, was born in captivity, is a no-nonsense fucking killing machine, which is what you want from these animals when they're out in the wild. The design, her unique abilities, the fact that she killed her sister was an amazing, awesome touch for me for her backstory. I loved Claire's character arc, like I said. I enjoyed watching her grow and change from this no-nonsense businesswoman in a business suit, or a dress suit rather, to this caring, loving aunt who would fight a fucking dinosaur to save her nephews, which I thought was amazing. And let's just take a second here and take our hats off to Bryce Dallas Howard for being able to run in a pair of fucking high heels, okay? She did special training to learn to run in high heels to do that scene. And that, I mean, tip our caps to Bryce Dallas Howard. Amazing job. Hats off to you, girlfriend. You go, girl. And I know she's probably never going to hear this podcast, and that's fine. I just want to give my shout out to her for doing that because that's fucking awesome. I love that scene. Last up for the things that I loved, the gyrosphere, which was something that they wanted to do all the way back in Jurassic Park, but I guess the logistics wouldn't allow for it to happen, so they went with the Jeep option. The gyrosphere was brilliant, well done, well shot, just an amazing piece of technology to bring out into a field of roaming dinosaurs. That'd be fucking awesome. And of course, like I said, the part where Indominus Rex tries to break the fucking sphere, puts it in her mouth, and you're expecting it to like fucking crack, which I thought was really cool. That just like solidified that whole idea for me. It was brilliant. So now we have 5 things that I disliked about this movie, and this is another movie. Just like I said on the Terminator show last week, it was very hard for me to find 5 things I disliked about this movie, which is really weird because I'm a cynical movie fan. I can go through and find 5, 10, 15, 20 things I didn't like about any given movie. This was really hard because I really enjoy the Jurassic Park, Jurassic World franchise. So first up is the Hoskins character. This character, there's nothing likable about him. He's very business orientated, very sneaky, very deceptive, and I get that that was the point. And he's another one of those guys like Masrani. He doesn't understand the amazing power that he's trying to wield, and to the point where he doesn't realize it right up to the very end when the fucking raptor bites his fucking arm off and probably killed him. I mean, you don't really see him die, but I assume he's dead. Next up is Gray and Zachary's parents, who, of course, are going through I call him Zachary, his name's Zach. They're going through a divorce, which is, I mean, that's a Steven Spielberg thing, troubled families and things like that. So I get that. And maybe if they were on the island and in the shit with the kids, I'd like them more, but I just didn't find those characters to be worth much. And I think it would have been interesting to see them on the island with the kids, which would have been funny. To see them fighting and showing it revealed that way that they were going through trouble, not showing them in the lawyers' offices. The lack of T-Rex is something I didn't like. I would like to have seen more of T-Rex in the wild, and maybe have her hunting the Indominus Rex for a bit of the movie, leading into the finale, you know, like where she tracks her down. I would have liked to see more of Claire in the park. And in the original script for Jurassic World, she's actually in the park with the boys during the whole movie, which would have been really interesting to see. Her transformation, you know, from businesswoman to badass. I think that would have been very interesting to see. The last thing I didn't like about this movie was the helicopter crash and the pterodons. Pterodons were not a big deal for me because we saw them in Jurassic Park 3. And I think the helicopter crash was just there so the pterodons could escape the birdcage and cause all the chaos that they did. So there was no wow factor with it because we'd already seen them, and they were just needed to run amok. There was no wow factor, and it just kind of killed it for me. And the helicopter crash, I mean, whatever. That was a big explosion. It was cool, but I just didn't see the point of it. You could have had Indominus Rex just run through the birdcage and smash through it completely without the helicopter crash being in there. Alright, folks, that is all I've got this week. This has been a rather long show. I apologize for that. I hope you guys have enjoyed the Did You Know Facts that have been playing throughout the episode. My name is Jamie Santamore. Feel free to follow me on all socials. If you'd like to reach out to the show, the email is theswamproadpodcast@gmail.com. Please like, share, and subscribe if you'd like to. I would greatly appreciate it. I'll see you guys next week with episode 3 of season 1, which is going to be all about Men in Black. Take care, everybody.